So as you can tell, this is something a bit different than what I normally do. This is, as you can tell, a very rough summary of the events of Chapter 1, specifically the Volga River, of Metro Exodus. So, with this, what I'm going to do, I will draw out some important things and do a quick summary on my own, just of what I think of the segment and everything surrounding it. So, Volga River. We have just arrived and are told to go check out the church of the Czarfish. Got the funny little symbol here. It's really interesting because it's, as far as I can tell, slightly based off of the whole Odaz, the Norse rune for O. Looks like that, which that has a whole history unto itself of symbolism and all that. But we go in, we do our best not to kill anybody. We find two individuals, Katya and Nastya, and we go and bring them back to our carriage. So, in terms of the actual level found in this section, moving through the church, I really like it as a level. It gave me a chance to really figure out what the fuck is going on with the combat system, because if you don't know, I play these games intermittently in a really weird manner, as I have to move around the fucking lampshade. That's bright. But with all that, have to record these in a bunch of chunks. This was a really good way to get me back into the combat system and just learn, okay, this is how I'm supposed to run this shit. This was before I started editing the videos proper, so stuff is a bit rough for the video, but it is linked down below with everything if you do wish to see it. Fun little thing. Gets us our introduction to the cult of the Czarfish. Bunch of Luddite idiots who, well, they aren't entirely wrong that technology is the source of many of mankind's woes. They're going about it the completely wrong way. Big shocker. So yeah, that is roughly what all happens in Chapter 1. We do a little bit of exploring, but this is the main thing. Czarfish, Katya, Nastya, and yeah, see you for the next drawing when we hit Chapter 2. Right, here we are for the second chapter of our little metro thing. So, what we have here, we're getting Crest. We're roaming around, paddling a bit. I didn't draw the boat because, well, we had a boat on the last slide, but went through a train station with some ghouls. I'm not sure if they're called ghouls in this setting, but they look like ghouls to me, so ghouls they are. Beyond the ghouls, we eventually, went up into the crane that Crest had. I really fucking like the crane as a house design. It's also nice that he put little shops everywhere for us to rest up and all that. But yeah, really liked the way that the whole crane house thing worked. That was really cool. The shadows aren't quite working with this shot. I'll deal with that in the next one, maybe. But yeah, looking through that, really awesome to see that sort of crane house. Well, we got Crest. He seems to be a decent enough fellow. A bit of a checkered past, most likely. But hey, he fixed up the Aurora, and that went well. And then, I didn't draw her, but Anna, she fell down into the ammo storage facility or whatnot. Highly radioactive, had to kill a shit ton of the ghouls that were down there. That segment took me a little bit. Not as long as some others, but it did take me a little bit. Yeah, it was cool to have like a proper reigniting of the, titular Metro for the whole Metro series. But yeah, that about does it for this chapter, so gonna have to get back into the drawing board and, figure out that. So, move this back into a corner, and... Oh, forgot to mention it. It just clicked in my head when I erased the little word I put in the corner, but Sam, one of our companions, he's American. I'm not exactly sure why he's here. I think he said something about like the Marines and National Guard could have been like an embassy guard during the whole fallout. I legitimately do not know what the fuck he's doing in Moscow, let alone the metro system and how he joined the Spartans, but he's American. And I think I made a few jokes about when he mentioned alligators, about, Johnny B. Good down in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, something something amidst the evergreens, so on and so forth. Don't know the lyrics. I'll get back to you as soon as I have drawn the next thing. See ya. Next up on our chapter voyage, as I remove the lampshade. It's a lampshade. I keep doing that between shots because this is a LED light bulb, and Jesus Christ, it is bright. I don't look over here whenever possible because it is bright as hell. But here we're going through one of the train depots that we're supposed to go to later in the story, but I went to it a little bit early. So, one of the major things we got going on, I end the episode halfway through because of this. It is not something I was able to really work through. I had an entry point, but because of the way that I was playing, I'm still trying to get a grasp on the combat system. This episode was aptly named, I Swear I Can Fight. I could not fight. That was not going well for me. But our entry point was through the back. We would sneak through the rail cars, try to clear out the way, and go from there. It eventually worked, but, definition of insanity and all that. I'm learning a little bit too much from my Souls-like playthroughs about trying the same situation over and over again. But eventually we do manage to clear it out, flip that little lever. It's all cleared out. We find that the gate was opened up and the train car can leave. We haven't been informed of the train car yet, so, can't really do that. The death toll of this area was insane, but I don't think it was the highest of any area. I'll have a death total thing at the end of the video. Though, once we do finish this whole bullshit and explore, we run into a few cultists of the Czarfish. We save Private Teddy in a nest for the flying things. I set one on fire, so I got the Waltz of the Firebird achievement. That was pretty neat. This was a real test of the combat system for me. I failed that test repeatedly until I got a C, which is barely a passing grade. But yeah, rear entry sometimes works, folks. Give it a shot. Now, I'm going to erase this, put our lampshade back on, and I'll see you in the next one. Right, next up on our little journey, we went on another instance of me taking that off and forgetting about it. Went on a little sabbatical to the Church of the Czarfish. I probably should have thrown the symbol of the Czarfish up. So I think I shall add that really quickly. This will probably end up being a time lapse. Right, not exactly the cleanest version of the Church of the Czarfish symbol I've done, but it does well enough. So, like I said, we've got the Czarfish. It's a massive fucking catfish. Got blessed by nuclear radiation, and congratulations, you now have something that has a cult formed around it. We also got Crest's little rail car. That is inside of the terminal and near the reactor core, which is a really cool set piece, and my main complaint about it is there's way too fucking many ghouls in the area, but that is just my personal taste about the ghouls. But yeah, the entrance to the area is also really neat, going through the twisting tunnels with that sort of kayak challenge. Got some night vision goggles as well, you know, worthwhile to get. And yeah, this was a fun section to go about exploring because we also got to see some notes and learning about the adverse effects of the radiation from leaking from the reactor core into the local ichthyopod population, and of course the catfish fucking survive it. For a little bit, I was thinking maybe that the czarfish was a sturgeon or something of that note, but no, it was in fact confirmed that it was a catfish. Big shocker, catfish are damn near immortal, it seems. But yeah, that's a fairly quick one. Now everything has mostly been set up at this point. We brought Crest's rail car back with the passenger carriage all the way to the Aurora, which will be making its first appearance via drawing in this next segment. And then after that, yeah, we're gonna be assaulting the bridge, so get ready for the bridge over the River Kwai reference that I am inevitably gonna make. See you in the next one. Alright, here we are with our final bit of the Metro Exodus recap of Chapter 1, and slightly to my mild annoyment and dismay, this has become an ongoing bit, so I will take off the lampshade and just put it down over there. We'll put it on for the final bit of the video. But this time we have finally gotten the rail car, as shown here, and gone about a little invasion of the port where we got our dear friend Crest, the mechanic. That's where we got a rail car to move our passenger car. And now we have invaded the port, got on a tugboat, and are currently, it's not drawn on here, but there's a line dropping down to somewhere over here where we have ourselves a pretty little tugboat. For shits and giggles, I am adding the tugboat with its nice plume of smoke. But we're doing all that, and we're heading up to try and get to the bridge controls where we can drop it. This is, unsurprisingly, the stronghold of the fish fuckers. I forgot to add the symbol, so I drew it in real quick. Probably see a time lapse or something, but this is the main place of the fish fuckers and Father Solantis. I probably could have drawn him in the corner, but I don't really care about an individual like him. He, well, not exactly wrong with, technology being the doom of mankind and so on and so forth. If you watched any of last episode, you know my general thoughts on him towards the end. Seas boiled and other bullshit. Nuclear hellfire bad. Ludite good. All hail King Lude. If this keeps up much longer, I'm gonna fucking lewd myself. As I throw that down to the ground, he is... Again, he's not wrong with his idea, but Jesus Christ on a bike, his sermons are annoying, and I listen to it way too many times. But our entry point is here. We sneak along up to the control panel where he is giving his little sermon, and then we convince him to let us go peacefully, which I was a little surprised by. We managed to keep our friend alive, Duke, I believe his name was. And with that, the Aurora, something currently used by the Spartans. I'll do a quick little Spartan logo here. There we go. It is a Spartan car. Yeah, the Aurora with her with the passenger car. And now we are on to the next chapter, whatever that may be. But I had a lot of fun with this segment. And I had a lot of fun making this video. It is not something I have really done before, so again, it's nice to be able to do something new. And that is the rough summation of the Metro Exodus thing. Yeah. So, right off to the corner, probably right here. Actually, I'm gonna. Yeah, we can remove this. But right here, we're gonna have the total death count for this episode's, or this group of episodes scrolling by. Next episode is gonna be intermission. We'll be reading through all of the notebooks, talking to everyone around the Aurora before we end up at our next location, and in general having a grand old time. And I want you to be there. If not, I fully understand, but I'm gonna put this back on the lamp. Second time's the charm. And, well, you can now see why I wanted to move that. But, stupid hats aside, that's that. I'm gonna let you roll to credits and see you in the next episode. So, as always, I'm Elvin Prince, stuffed and below as you see fit. I have a Twitch channel, please check that out if you feel like it. And yeah, adios.